there are many other people who have said economic populism, economic populism, economic populism, real solidarity, where you understand the battle is at a class level, not a cultural level, a class level. Because I can guarantee you that if everybody had a nice fat retirement fund and a pension, if everybody knew that their children were going to be able to be educated in functional and thoughtful public education, if they knew that if you follow the rules and you make sure that you play the game straight ahead and you do a good thing for others by looking out for the whole of society, and that was going to be something that would not only make you feel good, but would be more likely to get you a life that has some of the hallmarks of success, then nobody would give a shit what their neighbors were doing and with who in the privacy of their bedroom. They wouldn't care if they were somebody who was born Adam and started calling themselves Amanda, because they would be like, yeah, but I got a big screen TV and I can afford eggs, and like, look, I can get a big electric truck. I don't have to, give up my size and give up the cool factor. It's not as if these things that are sort of hallmarks of American society could not be done in ways that are less destructive. So you cannot tell me that I'm the only person who's come up with these solutions, because I'm not. So why is it that if I'm in the long list of individuals who has pointed to this economic inequality as the real issue of the 21st century, a return to the Gilded Age, and actually now it's an even worse level of economic inequality, such that they're calling it the obscene age, why is nobody doing a damn thing about it? Well, here I'm going to call back out what I mentioned before, which is centrism. Because centrism, wherein you're in the socially liberal camp, but you're in the financially conservative camp, serves big business very well. Because you're offending less people, so they're more likely to shop with you, and you're saving yourself more money, so you're more likely to get fucking rich. And the thing is, the only way that this continues is because they've sold us a line of bullshit that says, hey, well, you can't come down on businesses because someday you might be rich. And then, do you want to have, your wings clipped? It's bullshit. It is bullshit, because you cannot tell me that these people who make 1,000 times the hourly wage of a Starbucks worker are working harder than them. It is ridiculous. How does one human have enough value to justify this kind of bullshit? 10 years ago, Nick Hanauer, I hope I'm saying his name right, Nick Hanauer, he did a TED Talk talking about this, and he basically broke it down in a wonderful way. He said, these plutocrats, who he called himself one of, need to understand they have one of two choices. They can make a fairer society where the people that work for them have enough money to be able to afford their products, like Henry Ford taught us, or they can keep doing what they're doing and wait for the pitchforks. And I brought up the French Revolution for that very reason, right? You have to pay the peasants enough to keep the pitchforks in the barns. You're seeing it now with Luigi Mangione, but people are considering taking the pitchforks out. And what I am noticing is you're still not having the right kind of conversations, because Democrats and Republicans are both centrist traditionally. And that is why when there was just an outright rejection of a need to work on economic fairness, you got more socially liberal policies. And yeah, sure, we'll give you even more in that area. But yet when it came to the financial issue, to the economic inequality, it was just this ossified version of a solution that was like, well, we can only do this one thing because that's the only skill set we have, is just more laissez-faire capitalism. Let the market figure it out. You can't clip the wings of these job creators. Their value has been overinflated to a ridiculous extent. And when it comes to politicians, you guys have to stop bullshitting us that centrism is the only way to do things. There are other economic models out there. And Joe Biden, to his credit, did start experimenting with that. But he hasn't gone far enough. And Kamala Harris was starting to experiment with that. But then she backed down, right? Because, she heard that the oligarchs, they're okay if you're like trimming a little on the edge. But if you really want economic change that's going to impact their bottom line, well, that they're going to have a problem with. And they would hate to have to do something about that. It's a nice economy you got there. Be ashamed if something happened to it. And that is the way that they have been controlling us. Now, the fact that we are run by an educated mafia of business raiders is something we have dealt with in the past. Look back to how we managed this before. It is a good inspiration, but we also need to be wise, to be canny, not to buy the bullshit that one must have only change on a cultural level, and then we just spend all our time fighting about what kind of culture we want. Bullshit. The culture will take care of itself if we get back to an understanding that economic fairness is what all Americans deserve, no matter where they come from. And centrism, it doesn't have room for that. So I'm not talking about extremism. I'm talking about fairness. And if we're not going to be fair to Americans, those pitchforks are coming out of the barns. Trust me.